The next section we're going to go into is software version control. What is software version control? I like to think about it in terms that I can understand. I think of it like a save file. If I know that there's going to be a really hard boss, I'm going to save. And that way, when I go through and I fight that boss, if I die, then I can go ahead and reload the last save file. Just like if you're working with your code and you have a working code, if you break it, then you can go ahead and reload to your last version that you knew that was working. What we're going to use for software version control is going to be Git. So Git is not GitHub. GitHub actually uses Git. This is mentioned basically everywhere you look for Git training for some reason, so it must be important. I'm going to be breaking the Git training into 2 videos, and this is going to be a conceptual overview, the big picture, if you shall will. All right, God damn it. So there's 3 main structures or trees of Git. There's a local workspace. This is kind of like your computer. This is where you're working. This is where you're storing the files. There's a staging area. That's kind of like the intermediary where you think that the changes you made are good enough to be committed. And then you have the head or the local repository. So when we're working with a local system, that's where we're going to be pushing our committed changes to. If you're using a Linux system, you're going to need to git. So how do we do that? Sudo apt install Git. Even though we've successfully installed Git, it doesn't mean that we're actually using it yet. So what we need to do is we need to make a repository, then we can add files to that repository, and then we can go through the life cycle of the files. Start a passion project, right? So you start your passion project, and you do plans to kill Dumbledore. Go ahead and just change over to, how do I make it a repository? I do git init. So this is just to initialize. So now you see initialized empty git repository. If I do an ls-a, now I see this .git file has been added here, and that's what makes it into a git repository. Git automatically does this when you initialize it on a folder. So now we get into talking about the life cycle of files, and let's go ahead and create a file. So I'll do touch and I'll do murder plans. The murder plans now are untracked. If I do git status, right now I see I have untracked files. It's murder plans. So how do I make this tracked by Git? I'm going to do Git Add, and I can either do dot or I can actually type out the name. The first status you go into when you have a new file that you've created, you start tracking it, is unmodified. So now, which makes sense, right? I have this brand new unmodified file. The next phase that you're going to go into, so you're going to open this up and you're going to start working. For our sakes, we're working on the murder plans so that we can kill Dumbledore. So let's go ahead and open up a text editor. All right, so now this file is modified. So if I do git status, I can now see that I have my modified murder plans. In order to commit any of my changes, what I need to do is stage them. So I think that my murder plans are pretty good right now. So I want to go ahead and stage that. How do I do it? I do git add again. And once again, I can either do a dot or I can do the name of the file. So git add murder plans. Now if I do git status again, I can see that these are changes to be committed. So now this is a staged file. Now what I want to do is I want to commit this, right? Oh shit. So I'm going to do a commit, A for all of every file in here, M for the message, and we're going to do our commit message, fuck. What happens after you do a commit and you're working locally, this is just an unmodified file. I forgot what I was saying. And so in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to work with remote repositories, and then I'm also going to focus on the command structure a little bit more. But there's a lot, so we'll get through this together.